Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this evening's meeting of the Livingston County Board of Commissioners. We'll open the meeting with a moment of prayer by our Vice Chair, Jay Drick.
Thank you, Commissioner. Will you bow your heads with me, please? Our Heavenly Father, as we begin our deliberations and our votes, instill in us patience, wisdom, and your divine guidance as your servants. We pray in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
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 Thank you, Vice Chair. Next, I'm going to ask Adam Perry, the new Executive Director, you're not a directory, the new Executive Director of Catholic Charities, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Mr. Perry.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, would you read the roll, please?
Commissioner Domas.
Here.
Commissioner Helserman.
Here.
Commissioner Sample is absent. Commissioner Nakagiri.
Here.
Commissioner Drick.
Here.
Commissioner Deaton is absent. Commissioner Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Fiani.
Here.
And Commissioner Gross.
Here.
A quorum is present.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Chair will entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda.
Motion, Smith.
Support Gross.
Motion made and approved. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? We have an agenda. Under correspondence, we have 4 items of correspondence, one from Lenawee, Ottawa, Sheboygan, and Osceola Townships, counties rather. Chair will entertain a motion to accept and place this correspondence on file.
So move, Helserman.
Support, Nakagiri.
Thank you. Moved and supported to accept and place on file. Are there any comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Item 7 is the call to the public. Madam Clerk, do we have any members from the public wish to speak?
Yes, we have Blake Clay from Howell City, along with Mary Kushner from Brighton Township. You're welcome to take a seat at the table.
Good evening, and thank you for letting us speak.
You may want to put that microphone in front of her. This one. There you go.
I am a retired special education teacher who has taught for 35 years and a Livingston County resident since 1992. We've been here for 33 years. As a special education teacher, I've worked with developmentally delayed young people for many years. And one of the things that I've learned about them is it takes them longer to develop. That's why they're called developmentally delayed, which means that 18-year-olds may be operating like 13-year-olds. They need those extra years to learn. So since that I have gotten involved with the Torch food truck and Torch 180. And the Torch food truck, we found when we were out with the food truck giving food to people, we found a lot of our former students in different neighborhoods who really wanted to work but couldn't get there because of the transportation problems in the county. When we started Torch 180, our goal was to train developmentally delayed young adults to work in the food industry. And Blake is one of our students that has been working with us. And One of the problems we have is transportation in this county, getting people to work. We are located in Fowlerville, and we work with the Let's bus system, and I'm not here to tear down Let's because they've been wonderful and they're getting better. But funding is a real problem, and they have let us know that there is a lot of funding that's available through the federal government if the county would help us with it. So that's kind of why I'm here, is to just to support Let's. They've worked with us on helping our students get subscription rides so that they can call ahead and get 3 rides a week, ahead and let them know. And they've also worked with us so that they can go online to get lines or to get rides. So those are all things that they're doing. They're working with us, but their hands are tied with a lot of things they can't do because they don't have the funding to get things done. So my understanding is there are federal funds available that we have not applied for. And I know it's because we're asking our taxpayers to pay a little more money. And as a taxpayer, I am very willing to pay more money so that we have transportation in this county and ways to get around that will help everyone get around. Not everybody's always going to be able to afford a car or even be able to drive. And Blake is going to share with you a little bit about his frustrations of having to depend on the transportation that we have in the county.
All right, thank you, Mary. I've been using Let's ever since I got out of my parents' house to get to Torch 180 and back, and also just use it for like doctor appointments to meetings for my work. But mainly, it's my only way to get transportation outside of my home. Like, I can't drive, or sometimes it's hard to find like transportation just to get to my doctor's appointments. But mainly, I'm hoping this gets through so we can get some funding for Let's. Is there anything else you want to say, Mary?
No, I just think it's important that they know how much he likes working and how much he wants to work, but transportation is always going to be an issue for him. And we'd like to make sure that we have transportation in the county to help them. So, thank you.
No, thank you, Mary, for giving my voice to her.
Thank you, Mary. And thank you for being here this evening, Blake.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mary.
We've got Tammy Higgins from Iasco Township, followed by Colleen Quinn.
Good evening, ma'am. You have 3 minutes to speak.
I know.
We're holding this and,
Are you counting me down? I haven't started talking yet.
nope. Okay.
Okay,
Go.
my name is Tammy Higgins. I'm from Iasco Township. I'm here on behalf of Go Live Co. And what I have in front of me here is unity letters from 290 signatures in the county. 93% of them are from residents. The unity letter is asking that the Board of Commissioners in Livingston County implement those best practices in the 2018 Master Plan and the 2020 Livingston County Trails Plan. That master plan won 2 prestigious awards according to the Livingston County Post article on 8/3/2019. That master plan included reliable bus service and complete street concepts to include non-motorized multimodal transportation infrastructure for pedestrians, cyclists, and those in wheelchairs who could move about safely. Of those 290 signatures, the following came from these townships and cities in Livingston County: Brighton, Howell, Heartland, Iasco, Tyrone, Unadilla, Hamburg, Pinckney, Green Oak, Genoa, Deerfield, Stockbridge, Osceola, Whitmore Lake, Marion, Cohocton, and Fenton. Officials in township municipalities that supported this unity letter and have signed: the City of Howell Mayor, the Brighton Chamber of Commerce, Unadilla Township, Iasco Township, Green Oak Township, a Brighton City Council member, and the Livingston County Planning Department. Support that came from individuals, mostly from individual citizens, but some other notable supporters that signed these letters are Indian Trails and Michigan Flyer, Chad Cushman, Livingston County Leadership Advisory, Mark Swenson, the First United Methodist Church of Brighton and Whitmore Lake, Mike Levine from the Mike Levine Trails, head coach of the Brighton cycling team, Greg Giles, hometown bicycles, Sean Bahan, the Livingston County Transportation Coalition, Leo Hannafin and Hugh Gurney, Friends of the Lakeland Trails, James Fackert, and Livingston County Catholic Charities, Beth Newman. A success story that this could work. The I-96 Grand River Interchange intersection in Brighton by MJR and Panera and all that was ranked among the state's most dangerous intersections based on the Michigan State Police data. In 2021, MDOT and the City of Brighton began talks with redesigning that interchange. However, there were no plans for pedestrian pathways in the new design presented by MDOT. They were asking the City of Brighton to spend $150,000 to $100,000 if they wanted pedestrian paths. Go Live Co. shared info with the City of Brighton and put into motion communications between MDOT and SEMCOG. The result is MDOT came forward with funding for that path, and now the City of Brighton only has to pay $10,000. And the City of Brighton learned about TAP, Transportation Alternative Grants, and others that they can use to fill sidewalk gaps in our county. This kind of work is where you, the Board of Commissioners, should be able to help facilitate this type of collaboration between the city and townships in the county, along with SEMCOG, MDOT, and the Road Commission and the like. It can be done, you just have to ask. Do I still got more time?
Perfect.
That's it, okay, I timed it good.
Thank-
And these letters are yours, and they're all numbered with the name who signed and all in order. So if you would like me to give them to the
You'll leave them
secretary.
with the clerk.
Okay,
Thank you very much for being here this evening.
you're very welcome, thank you.
Keep them in the folders. We've got Colleen Quinn from Genoa Township, followed by Dave Van Auker.
Good evening. I just wanted to voice my support for Resolution 2023-10-185, opposing legislation that would preempt local control for wind and solar development. I'm really glad to see that you guys are doing this. I'm glad to see so many counties in Michigan are doing it. And I would urge everybody to reach out to their state legislators. I understand there are House Bills 5120 to 23 that might go forward this week that would strip local governments of the power to regulate local land for wind and solar farms. So I'm really happy that you guys are on top of this and keeping our constitutional county. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Dave Van Auker from Osceola Township.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. All right, in no particular order, well, I've created an order. Just want to comment on a few things that we've been talking about over the last few months, just to give some food for thought to the council. So these are kind of arbitrary in some ways. First item regarding comments on chemtrails, I think it's worth considering. I don't know what the heck's coming out of the planes. Don't know. I don't have time to investigate it, but I do know something's coming out, and we have farmlands here, we have citizens and cats and dogs and our own health to be concerned about. So it is worth at least factoring it into your thinking that it is a subject worth considering. Moving down on the video wall, my question is, does it serve a special function? I haven't heard a report yet, so hopefully I'm not out of the loop. But if it serves a special function and it gives us an advantage to serving our people, it's worth considering. But it's also expensive. It's hard to maintain. If we have any problems with supply chains or maintaining equipment, it's a lot easier to replace monitors than it is some fancy doodad. I love nice gear, just so you know. So I'm okay with that if it helps us. On hiring locals versus outsiders, one of the things that went through my mind more than anything, it's important to have talented people when you're doing your hiring, but it's also important to have people that understand the nature of the community, our priorities, and how we want to live here. And sometimes an outside idea can change things for the better, and sometimes it can just move us in a direction that's not in line with the way we want to see our community. Which leads me to the last thing, and that is, I'm looking at what's the vision for our county itself. And I know you gentlemen all have some kind of vision or you wouldn't be here. So I'm kind of looking at my own thoughts on the matter, and that is, that we need to kind of make sure that we're maintaining a mix. I've watched this, I've lived here 20 years now, so I've seen quite a bit of change. And so what I'm thinking is that, we really need to be aware and thinking of maintaining a nice balance between farmlands and communities, especially, again, moving to supply chains and other issues like that. If food becomes an issue, we need to be a self-sustaining county. Everybody likes that term, so I'll throw it out there. To be able to get food to ourselves easily and inexpensively. I've heard food come up a bunch of different times here, so I know that there are counties where people, if you were to bring them in, they don't have that issue. They're used to shipping their food in. But if you got an electric truck, how far are you going to be able to take your food? So you got to be thinking about this green agenda. It's not small how it changes things. If you want to put solar panels on there, that makes a difference too. How much farmland you have for that. So just to keep in mind, I'll cut this short because it looks like my time is up. I saw the sign. Thank you, sir.
You did fine. Thank you very much, sir.
I have no further cards in the chambers
Do you have
here.
anyone on Zoom?
No, Commissioner, I do not see any on Zoom.
Then we will move on to the next item on the agenda, which is approval of the minutes of the previous meetings. The annual meeting of October 10th. Chair will entertain a motion.
So move, Gross. Support, Helserman.
Been moved and supported. Are there any comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The next item on the agenda are tabled items from previous meetings, and I don't believe we have anyone. We'll move on to item number 10, which is reports. And I would ask our guest, Adam Perry, to step up and give us he's brand new. He even looks brand new, doesn't he?
Well, thanks. So my name is Adam Perry. I'm the new executive director at Livingston County Catholic Charities. I still get new, I guess, until the first year. So I did give you kind of a packet. I'm going to breeze through that. You guys can read through that at some other point if you need additional information. I've met with a handful of the commissioners already. Would love to hear what your guys' areas are, kind of pushes how Catholic Charities can be involved. So my card is there. If I have not met with you, I'd really appreciate a meeting. I will then follow up something that will come in the budget. Something that you might see is the assistance to our home injury control program, little brochure here. That is a program directly for seniors in their home to keep them safe. So that's a program that we manage, that we go directly to the senior's home. We're doing things like clearing pathways, installing safety equipment such as smoke detectors, shower bars, hand railings at their home. We partner with Habitat to do additional projects. 1 year into the program, we've already serviced over 50 people in each program. So I won't go through the list of what is approved in each program that's in your brochure of like what specific items we do for each. But we've already purchased a vehicle, gotten additional tools, expanding, doing more projects. So we appreciate your guys' support. Just wanted to bring that up so you guys kind of knew the understanding in the budget, what that was. Really led by a lot of our senior programs. One of our new iconic programs. We have a variety of other senior programs. I won't go through all of those. Secondly, nice green brochure. This is everything Catholic Charities does. I'm sure a lot of you are very familiar, but there is many programs and I have 3 to 5 minutes. So I am not even going to touch this because it'll take you 3 to 5 minutes to read it. So if you guys have any questions, definitely shoot me an email. Kind of our big staples are mental health and substance abuse programming, along with a variety of different senior programmings. A lot of, I know the commissioners know of our adult day dementia program, working with seniors during the day to allow their caregivers to get a break. But I'll let you peruse that. If anybody has any questions, definitely shoot me an email or check out our website. And then follow up last two pieces of paper on the end of the packet here. There's a letter from myself, supported from our board. We've currently rented since 1985 at our current location. I'm sure a lot of you have heard from Mark, my predecessor before, was that we've been looking for a building for a long time. So for us, we're always looking for different funding opportunities to look towards a building. I've kind of included a letter around hardship of why that has been difficult for us, along with the hardship aspect of COVID and how that's impacted our ability to fundraise, our ability to operate programs. We never stopped the entire time because we didn't want the low-income seniors and elderly in the community to suffer by not getting services. That did cost us in the sense of we were not able to fundraise towards that future building, save towards that future building. You know, we didn't want anything to lack in any way for anybody in need during COVID. So there's a letter there kind of talking about that. Would love that to be a future topic. If there's any ARPA funds remaining, anything like that, that any commissioners would have ideas, would love to have that individual conversation or a group conversation if people are willing. And then the last page at the end is just what we do in the sense of data. People always ask, how does our money spend? You know, how many people we service, those types of items. Quick and easy, digestible, one page, real quick. So if you're ever confused, you can also scan in the bottom corner and read a much longer annual report if you're interested. It is about 15 pages, you know, obviously focuses on our donors and kind of explains a lot more of these numbers if there's any confusion there. But try to get through a lot. I think I probably have a little bit of time if anybody has a question. Anyone have any questions?
Sure. Mr. Pearson Perry, thanks for coming in.
Yes.
As you've now been in the chair for eight months roughly,
Yes.
what do you find is your biggest hurdles in managing this nonprofit?
I would say hurdle wise, I think is true for a lot of nonprofits is obviously always the funding aspect. A lot of people talked around transportation, the ability for clients to get to our facilities. We're servicing majority low income and, like I said, seniors. So the ability for those people to get places is also difficult. Along with, I would say, the overall funding, especially of things like mental health and substance abuse services, just because of the reimbursement rates around Medicaid's, Medicare's, you know, what we're going to get paid for a service. Unfortunately, you know, we like to pay our therapists fairly. So we like to offer them benefits, have them be, you know, full standing staff so they're able to live in the community. But in turn, that kind of hurts us on the commercial billing end because we're one of the few, we're the only provider outside of, you know, city-based programs like a CMH that provides people with Medicaid a service. They're small little independent ones that might take pieces, but we take a variety. And then we have a sliding scale on all of our programs, our senior programs and our substance abuse, where we look at your income and we take based on the income level. So if you have no insurance, we're going to service you. We're just going to look at your income limitation and say, oh, based on your income, your therapy session costs $20. Well, in turn, it doesn't cost us $20. So it's always one of those things of keeping those gaps smaller, and always if there's any community support, you know, state support, federal support, those are things that are always that much better to allow those services to always be accessible to those people. And then on top of that, same thing with the seniors in the sense of a lot of seniors are in fixed income situations and their income's not ever going to change. And of course, inflation, rising costs, those types of things, our services are just becoming more popular, not less popular. Especially with the growing senior population.
I have a question.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
What is an LMSW?
LMSW is a licensed master of social work. So someone who has 2 years of experience with a full licensure after getting their master's degree in social work.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else have any questions for our new director? Thank you very much, Director Perry.
Thank you very much.
Welcome aboard.
Appreciate it so much.
Come back and see us often.
Oh, yes, of course.
Thanks, Adam.
Next is reports. Are there any reports from our commissioners? Anybody?
I have a report.
Okay.
talking to Adam Bates of Surf Internet. They have, I think it was last Friday, they signed the contract with the Robin, My High office, to service most of rural Livingston County. And so that's a big win for Livingston County.
Thank you. Anyone else? We'll then move on to item 11, which is the resolutions for consideration. I'll turn the meeting over to Vice Chairman Jay Drake.
Thank you, Chairman Domas. We're at item number 11 on tonight's agenda. 11A, a resolution for consideration reads 2023-10-178. It's a resolution to authorize a third quarter budget amendment to the fiscal year 2023 budget. It's from Fiscal Services. Hillary's here to answer any further questions. We were all at FAM. Any further questions, comment, analysis, objection?
I move to approve the resolution.
Support.
Thank you. Any further? Hearing none, I'll close the discussion and go to a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Fiani,
Yes.
Commissioner Gross,
Yes.
Commissioner Helserman,
Yes.
Commissioner Domas,
Yes.
Commissioner Sample is absent, Commissioner Nakagiri,
Yes.
Commissioner Drick,
Yes.
Commissioner Deaton is absent, and Commissioner Smith.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. 11B reads 2023-10-179. It's a resolution approving the appointment of Emily Kosinski as backup magistrate for the 53rd District Court. Can I get a motion?
Move the resolution, please.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Domas, second by Fiani. Marissa?
Hi. As I said at last Monday's committee meeting that I was going to bring Ms. Kaczynski into the full board meeting. This is Emily Kaczynski. She is Judge Bain's law clerk and soon to be attorney magistrate, hopefully after this evening. So I thought I'd bring her along so that you could meet her. So with this resolution, I'm seeking your approval for the backup magistrate component for the position. As I'd stated, the magistrate function is provided for in the current budget. Emily was hired as Judge Bain's law clerk, attorney magistrate in August, so she's been with us for a while. Over the last few months, she has really kind of taken to the law clerk duties, and she is very well loved by our clerk's office and, of course, district court as a whole. To give you a little background, I think most of you were all here last Monday, maybe a few weren't here, but she graduated with her Juris Doctorate from Michigan State University College of Law in 2010, was admitted to the State Bar of Michigan in January of 2011. Prior to the 53rd District Court, Emily spent her law career in private practice, focusing on a lot of the civil litigation, landlord-tenant matters, bankruptcy, tax, and family court matters. And she's a lifetime resident of Livingston County. She grew up in Brighton, now resides in Brighton with her husband, Scott, and her two daughters, complete opposite sides of the spectrum as far as her daughters are concerned. One's a tomboy, one is, as I was learning earlier this evening at dinner. So with the backup magistrate position, it's very important to have this component. It's an on-call duty that will take up about 13 weeks of her time throughout the year. So she'll get phone calls at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning to do search warrants and such. So it's a big help to have two backup magistrates that we do have with district court, as well as our full-time magistrate. So it's that split duty for 52 weeks out of the year. So it'll be a big help, I know, with all the judicial officers. So any questions about the position, about the certification process?
When are you scheduled to get to magistrate school?
Tomorrow.
There you
go. She's already bonded. She's, all you gotta do is have her take the oath and she'll be ready to go. starting phase one, so she's ready. And I know our other law clerk is ready too, because she's been handling all the majority of the work but yes, Emily's been wonderful, so I think she'll do a really good job. Very good job.
Seeing no further questions or comments.
Just welcome aboard,
Thank you.
and I hope you're not too sensitive about football scores.
Okay, yes, I am.
Oh, you are?
I'm taking that very personally.
Welcome aboard. We're glad to have you and look forward to working with you.
Thank you very much.
All those in favor kindly say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. 7-0 passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're at 11C. It's number 2023-10-180. It's a resolution authorizing the acceptance of the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services Raise the Age Grant in juvenile court. May I get a motion?
So move, Helserman.
Support Smith.
Moved by Helserman, support by Smith. Ms. Shaw, are you on? If there are any questions, we had opportunity at FAM. Any questions, comment, analysis, argument? Seeing none, I'll close that portion and we'll go to a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Helserman,
Yes.
Commissioner Domas,
Yes.
Commissioner Sample is absent, Commissioner Nakagiri.
Yes.
Commissioner Drick,
Yes.
Commissioner Deaton is absent, Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Fiani,
Yes.
and Commissioner Gross.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We're at 11D. It is resolution number 2023-10-181. It's a resolution authorizing Livingston County Community Corrections to accept an MDOC grant award for fiscal year 2024 for court central services. May I have a motion?
Move the resolution, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Support Nakagiri.
Moved by Domas, support by Nakagiri. Any further questions, analysis, objections, insight to direct to Ms. Applegate? Seeing none, I'll close that portion and go to a roll call vote, kindly.
Commissioner Domas,
Yes.
Commissioner Sample is absent, Commissioner Nakagiri.
Yes.
Commissioner Drick,
Yes.
Commissioner Deaton is absent, Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Fiani,
Yes.
Commissioner Gross,
Yes.
and Commissioner Helserman.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution number 11E on tonight's agenda reads 2023-10-182. It's a resolution authorizing specialty courts and programs to accept the state court administrative office grants for fiscal year 2024. Again, if you have any questions or comments, Sarah Applegate would be able to field those.
I move to approve the resolution.
Thank you.
Support Gross.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll close that portion and we'll go to a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Fiani,
Yes.
Commissioner Gross,
Yes.
Commissioner Helserman,
Yes.
Commissioner Domas,
Yes.
Commissioner Sample is absent, Commissioner Nakagiri.
Yes.
Commissioner Drick,
Yes.
Commissioner Deaton is absent, and Commissioner Smith.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. 11F reads 2023-10-183. It's a resolution authorizing additional funds for 2022 judicial switchgear capital improvement project brought to us by Director Eggleston. Can I get a motion?
So move, Helserman. Support Gross.
Motion by Helserman, support by Gross. Any questions, further insight, objections? Seeing none, I'll close that portion and move into a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Helserman,
Yes.
Commissioner Domas,
Yes.
Commissioner Sample is absent, Commissioner Nakagiri,
Yes.
Commissioner Drick,
Yes.
Commissioner Deaton is absent, Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Fiani,
Yes.
and Commissioner Gross.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. On to number 11 sub G. It's 2023-10-184. It's a resolution authorizing the renovation of the county clerk vital records office. Can I get a motion?
We'll move the resolution, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Support, Helserman.
Moved by Doma, support by Helserman. Any questions for Clerk Hundley? Maybe Director Eggleston is here also on Zoom, maybe not.
No, he's in the back.
Oh, he's here in the back. All right, we have both. Commissioner Gross, you have your hand up?
Yes,
Proceed.
thank you.
Yes.
I'd like to inform my colleagues that last week I had the opportunity to visit with Clerk Hundley and take a tour of the vital records area at the clerk's office, and along with Commissioner Nakagiri. And there most definitely is, I think, a very unfortunate situation on the north side of the hallway, where the clerk's office is pretty cramped. And while I was visiting with Clerk Hundley, I offered a suggestion on what possibly could be done, and found out that my suggestion didn't take into consideration requirements for the American Disabilities Act. So my idea got shot down. However, taking the tour, I left the area with the thought that the resolution that we have currently addresses only the north side. And I don't know if we have all of the data that we need to support both sides, but I feel very strongly that we should renovate both sides at one time. And as I recall, I think that would require another roughly $100,000. I don't know if we can vote on this with an amended dollar amount, or if we want a whole new submission. So I asked my colleagues what their preference would be, but I, for one, think we should do both sides at the same time. If we do the north side now and postpone the south side, down the road, it's going to be a lot more expensive. We get more bang for the buck by doing it now or soon. So I open it up for discussion with respect to trying to increase the amount via an amendment or asking for a revised resolution.
Commissioner Nakagiri, you have the floor.
Thank you. Yeah, I concur with Commissioner Gross. I did view the facilities, and I'll say I'm 100% in agreement with Commissioner Gross. I do have a proposed amendment. I am going to make a motion. I am making a motion to amend. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the fifth whereas, it's instead of 170,000, it would be 223,000. In the sixth whereas, the furniture would go from 38,218 to 70,597. The total project cost would change from $228,986 to $313,465. There are other changes, but they all do with the changing the figures, the dollar values. And I gave a copy of the proposed changes to the clerk, and so.
I will second that motion.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to change the numbers on a couple of the whereas clauses and probably the be it further resolved.
Yes.
What's the be it further resolved number in the first and the second paragraphs?
So in the first, therefore be it resolved, it would change from the amount not to exceed 229,000 to an amount not to exceed $313,465. In the next, it says, be it further resolved. The amount there is shown as 170,900. It will change to $223,000 even. And those are the two changes in the therefore be it resolved.
Is everybody getting these numbers on their notes?
What was 900?
Ask Wes.
I'm
I
sorry.
have a copy. Okay, thanks.
Did you get your number?
Yep, thank you.
Okay. Any further comment? Commissioner Nakagiri, you still have the floor.
I'm good.
Mr. Helserman,
Oh,
have you a comment?
yes, I do, but I let Marty go first.
I think our legal counsel had a comment.
Counsel?
I just wanted to make sure that we are clear on the funding source and that these additions would be consistent with what is permitted for the expenditure under the firearms law. And one way we could do that is just to add to the first, therefore be it resolved at the end of the existing sentence, to the extent permitted by the firearms law. It's a fact-based inquiry. We reviewed this project in its current form and believe that these would be allowable expenditures. I have not reviewed it for the other portions that are being added, which is fine. But just note, if that did not relate to administration of the firearms law, the source of funding would be something else.
So that's a contingency or to the extent?
I would suggest the language, if it's permissible by the maker of the amendment, to the extent permitted by the firearms law.
And we would have to ask Commissioner Nakagiri and Helserman if that would be their understanding and we should add it.
Yeah, my understanding is it does, it is a allowable expense to fund out of Fund 263, the concealed pistol licensing. And I mean, it says that in the whereas, and actually, I'm fully in support of it with funding out of the CPL fund. Have to think about it if I'm going to go through the general fund. So I would prefer not to put the language in there. And it is my understanding, I've been told that this is a CPL fund allowable use.
Both sides of the office, both the north and the south, will be processing CPLs. So we do have Treasurer Nash attending via remotely, but I checked with her. She did not anticipate any issue with this being a qualified CPL expenditure. I've read the act and we have input from legal counsel. Basically, both sides will be simultaneously processing CPLs.
And I would withdraw my comment then. I just wanted to make sure factually that we were all on the same page with what the renovations were going to cover.
So that your thought to add wording is withdrawn.
Yes.
Thank you. Understood. Is there some, excuse me, does anybody else have a comment or question?
I have one, but I can defer to you.
Both sides also do, or also might do other types of work because of they're the vital records, correct?
Correct.
Would there be a proportionate amount that you could ascribe to either birth certificates or marriage licenses, et cetera, those 9 or so services, and then the one service, the CPL?
You know, the number of applications vary per year. There is no consistent number. The way I look at this is the administration of the act is going to take place on both sides of that office. Therefore, it qualifies as an expenditure under this act. That's just my interpretation. I believe that this is an appropriate use of the CPL fund. I prefer not to base it on some ever-changing percentage. Every CPL, every vital records clerk handles every document that goes through there.
Attorney Norford, does that comport with your October 20th email that you say there should be a allocation or a proportion?
Well, I'm going to defer to the facts presented by the clerk. And so I think as long as factually we can support that these renovations are used for administration of and issuing of concealed pistol licenses, I'm comfortable with that. The reason that I talked about a proportionate amount as far as the cost of renovations is if there were renovations that were not associated with the CPL administration. And that was really the nature of my comment at the outset, because I have not vetted the renovations that were added tonight, which is fine. I just didn't know if those were not associated with CPL, but it sounds like from the information that has been presented, they are.
I'm hearing both sides do CPLs and all 4 of the employees that I saw on the north side do CPLs.
And myself, correct.
Okay,
A lot of times when I am short-staffed, I'm primary on doing the CPL approvals. I balance the CPL fund, trust accounts monthly. So there are a lot of the actual hands-on responsibilities that I handle.
I'm satisfied that the proportionality and the allocation is correct and we can use the CPL funds. And we have over 400,000 in
Correct. It's close to 490,000 in the CPL fund balance.
Thank you. Have my comments or questions spawned any further? Commissioner Gross.
Mr. Chair, thank you. I also wanted to confirm the the existing amount in the CPL fund, which you just did. So if we pass this resolution and proceed with the project, the drawdown should leave you $150,000 or so. Is that going to be
That is an
adequate to cover
adequate.
any needs?
Yes, it will be an adequate fund balance through at least the end of next year.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
Any further comment, question? Go ahead, Commissioner Helserman.
I think that now is the time to act, to put them together. The first presentation of this was together. The first bids that were given out were with this, the whole project. When we decided to pare down the amount, I think there were maybe policies that weren't followed as properly as could be, in giving of reopening the bid for a smaller thing. So I feel better all the way around, just doing the whole thing and going with the original footwork that you did, as opposed to, half doing the footwork for a reduced, which it could, maybe it wasn't half, but it could be perceived as that, as not following the procedures as we usually do. So to me, this is a win-win. It's important.
Any further comment, question, or analysis? Seeing none, I'll close that portion. You're back to being clerk now. Do you have the?
We're on the motion
correct,
to amend. I
minutes?
have that moved by Commissioner Nakagiri, seconded by Commissioner Helserman. I do have those numbers.
All right, we're set with the amendment. First, we'll vote for the amendment. All those in favor of amending, kindly, I think that's a voice vote. Kindly say aye.
Aye.
That's a 7-0 voice vote to amend. That's passed. Any further discussion any commissioner wishes to have about the main amended motion now? Seeing none, I'll close that. We'll go to a roll call vote on the amended.
Commissioner Domas.
Yes.
Commissioner Sample is absent. Commissioner Nakagiri.
Yes.
Commissioner Drick.
Happy to say yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Deaton is absent with Commissioner Smith.
Yes.
Commissioner Fiani.
Yes.
Commissioner Gross.
Yes.
And Commissioner Helserman.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. You're
Very
welcome.
much.
11H is the last resolution for consideration tonight. It's number 2023-10-185. It's a resolution opposing any legislation preempting local control for solar and wind developments. It's brought to us by the Board of Commissioners, and it's in writing. Any questions, comment, analysis?
I move to approve the resolution. Support, Helserman.
Thank you. It's always nice to have somebody that recalls a few things for me. Any question or comment? Commissioner Helserman.
This is I think a very popular, resolution. But when we make and I'm for this resolution, but when we make a resolution like this, we have to consider that there are sometimes in some places where the issue is so great of a public need that the state has to step in and overrule local control. For example, there was a fracking issue in Conway Township, and Conway Township had nothing to say about the approval of the fracking happening in the county because the need for energy across the state and across the nation overrode the local concerns that might have arisen. There are some people in our state that think that we have a carbon crisis, a weather-related crisis, and the only way to solve the crisis is to limit carbon dioxide. The reason why I'm voting for this resolution is because I think our country has swallowed a big story that isn't true. And, you know, I could, on most subjects like this, I could speak a long time. I won't, but I think that just to say carbon dioxide is plant food. And the more plants we have, the more energy we have, the more. The other thing is the sun is not a renewable energy source. The sun has a lifespan. There's some point in history future, the sun won't be there. And so I support this, but we need to understand that there are some times in the people who are for the state stepping in, they will do it, they will say it because it's in the best interest of mankind to step in. I disagree that there is the crisis that they say. I think that 12 years ago or 14 years ago, they said in 12 years, we will be facing extinction or raising this or raising that. In my mind, these people are like the people crying wolf. And at some point, I hope our society wakes up that, it's not the crisis that it's meant to be. That's the reason why I vote for this. And I hope that the state doesn't step in and mandate it.
Thank you. Any further comment, analysis? Commissioner Gross, you have the floor.
Thank you. I noticed in the last, or the only be it further resolved, we have a series of dignitaries and also an indication to receive copies of the resolution and also the other 82 county boards of commissioners in the state. I don't think it's necessary to go through the amendment process, but it should also be forwarded to the Michigan Association of Counties. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further question, analysis before we vote? Seeing none, I'll close discussion and move to a voice vote. All those in favor kindly say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 7-0, unanimous. We're on to item number 12 on the agenda. It's the accounts payable reports. 12A reads claims dated October 23, 2023. 12B reads payables dated September 30 through October 13th, 2023. Can I get a motion?
I would move that we approve both the claims and the payables.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second, Gross.
Thank you. Moved by Domas, seconded by Gross. All those in favor kindly say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 7-0 is unanimous. Item number 13 is call to the public. We have a 2-minute call to the public at the end of our meetings. And if there are any cards submitted,
I do not have any cards for this one.
anybody in the room want one last chance before we go to Zoom? Ma'am, come on up. State your name, state your place of residence, make yourself comfortable, be seated, and begin when you're ready.
If you have one, yes, please. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hello,
Hi, your name and your residence.
my name is Colleen Kowalski. My residence is 3280 Hunter Road, Brighton, Michigan.
You have 2 minutes.
All right.
You may proceed.
Do you like to walk or ride a bike? Wouldn't it be nice to have safe pathways for pedestrians and bicycles? My name is Colleen Kowalski. I'm a new member of the Go Live Co. Horrell Family Foundation. Our mission is to create safe pathways in Livingston County. My family and I have lived on Hunter Road in Brighton near Cornerstone Church for 25 years. If you've ever been on Hunter Road, you will agree that motorists travel very fast. And on many occasions, I have seen families riding bikes on this road and even pushing baby strollers on the road. It just isn't safe. My son was critically injured while riding his bicycle right in front of our home. We need a sidewalk and a bike lane on Hunter Road and Hilton Road. I'm sure you've heard the good news that Brighton City Council approved the I-96 Grand River pedestrian pathway on 10/22/2023, just this past Friday. This pathway will not only protect our citizens, future children and grandchildren, but connect our outlying neighborhoods to the lovely downtown shopping in Brighton and dining. Connecting our communities will encourage more activity for healthy lifestyles and may also stimulate economy and encourage more downtown shoppers. Sean of Hometown Bicycles already donated a bike rack for the future of cyclists to park while shopping or dining. Thank you, Sean. Please join me by signing the Go Live Co. petition that I brought with me tonight. We are here to encourage all of the municipalities to work together on this important Safe Pathways project.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Any further person in the room that might like to speak before we go to Zoom? Seeing no hands. I believe Scott Barb has his hand up on Zoom.
Yeah.
Scott, can you hear me?
I can.
Name, residence, and 2 minutes.
Hi, good evening, Commissioners. This is your Planning Director, Scott Barb. I am a resident of Genoa Township here in Livingston County. I am this evening just wanting to let you know, mostly informationally, that at our October 18th Planning Commission meeting just last week, the Livingston County Planning Commission also voted on and approved a resolution supporting local control of solar and wind developments as well. So with your recommendation this evening as well, and your support of the same resolution, we're hoping that the message has been loud and clear that this type of local land use issue should be with the local townships and the local governments to control. So I just want to let you know that we appreciate both the Board of Commissioners and the Planning Department being on the same page with this important land use issue, and that we are always willing to reach out to our local constituents and residents and helping them understand the issue more and helping them find solutions to it as well. And that's all I had.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else on Zoom? Time to click the raise your hand button. Seeing none, I'll close the call to the public and we'll go into item number 14 on the agenda, which is entitled closed sessions. Item closed session number 1, discuss pending litigation pursuant to MCLA 15.268E, case number 2331864CK. And closed session number 2, discuss written legal memorandum pursuant to MCL 15.268 parent H. Can I get a motion?
Move it, please.
Move both of them together.
Yes.
No, there'll be one at a time. You're gonna do
Do
both?
one at a time. You can move them together.
Okay, I would move them together if we can.
The motion has been by Commissioner Helserman is to move both of these together for one vote. Any second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Smith.
That is a roll call.
I think it's like 2
And it's a
million years.
2/3?
Yes.
2/3, and it's a roll call. Okay, we all understand. Proceed with the roll call.
Commissioner Helserman,
Yes?
Commissioner Domas.
Yes.
Commissioner Sample is absent. Commissioner Nakagiri,
Yes.
Commissioner Drick.
Yes.
Commissioner Deaton is absent. Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Fiani,
Yes.
and Commissioner Gross.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
7:01.
7:05, yes.
Should we tell Helserman? Commissioner Helserman?
Yes.
We've just researched this and it looks like the sun only has another